spastically infatuated with the in-between. The ups and downs, the curves and the rounds. I'll bring it to your city or your hometown. I'll go back in time when the feeling was fine. When funkin' was legal and it wasn't a crime. Party people lined up and down the way. A bigger celebration than your birthday. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. And I have seen the world pristine, funk you up in the bushes, funk you down in the trees. Now look around, all the frowns, the yellow, the white, the red and the brown. And keep in mind, it never costs a dime, 'cause funkin' is free, I remember the time. Now look today, the streets are gray, time to take it back to yesterday. Funkin' in the neighborhood, I felt the fool 'cause the funk was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool 'cause the funk was good. It was good in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt a fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt a fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt a fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt a fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood.
And we're live.
And we are back.
This show brought
I'm
to you
Ron
by
Burgundy.
Eating. You should do it. So yeah, David and I were talking about dinner, and we completely lost track of time. David, how you doing? Where are you at?
I'm doing all right. It's been busy. I'm out on the West Coast. I'm down in San Diego right now.
Comic-Con?
It's been a good time. No, I did not go to Comic-Con. It's actually a solar convention out here going on, and with
you're
what I
looking
do
more
now.
tan. I can tell you've been getting the rays. You look good.
I clicked a button on my ring light to change it from white to darker. So that's it. I didn't bring my makeup lady out here. I'm gonna turn this light on. Let's see what happens.
Let's see.
There we go. That's not bad.
Hey, you look good. You look good.
Good. Everybody like that. It's all about the beard.
It's true.
The more of my face I cover up, the better people tell me I look.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything.
Hey, I'm in the midst of trying to lose weight. That's why I haven't eaten in a couple days.
A couple of days. Speaking
Yeah.
of healthy decisions, do you have an adult beverage with you?
Yes, these are my adult beverages today. I've got a Red Bull and Gatorade.
Look, if you haven't eaten or slept well lately, that'll keep you going. You got to hydrate, and you need the caffeine. I get it.
Yeah, the motivations fluctuates, I guess.
I get it. So you're trying to lose weight. Is this a New Year's resolution kind of thing?
No. It turns out I'm fat.
I mean, look, you're healthy. It's
The doctors disagree with that.
I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying.
As I chug my Red Bull.
Your doctor, yeah, your cardiologist would love that, by the way.
Yeah, I got this new doctor. His name's Kevorkian, and he's like, man, we need to get you. Taken care of.
Yeah, Kevorkian's like, hey, you got to move to Canada quick because they got some nice
Yes.
programs you should look into. But
Yes.
we don't talk politics on this show, so we're not going to go there.
That wasn't politics. That was dark humor. There's a difference.
That's how we roll.
Sorry, I've got a table, and I'm using the term table loosely here.
Right.
I pick up the MacBook and spin it around, but I don't know what would happen. But I'm trying to stash this, so there's no room up front. Otherwise, everything's in the shot. So all the stuff's behind. So you see me doing this, it's because I'm reaching around and grabbing the phone for messages and whatnot and Wi-Fi and
Right. So he basically gave you a TV tray for a desk instead of an actual desk.
Well, there's a desk over there, but it didn't allow me to get a decent view. I mean, the room is pretty good.
Well, hotels usually love when you redecorate, so you should just move the furniture around, feng shui it until it suits your needs.
I do that.
I'm sure you know what, out of everybody I know, I'm sure you do, actually. I have no doubt about that.
I do that. Because I walk in, especially if I've got to do a show on the road, I walk in, I'm like, all right, what's the best view? What's the best look? How can I get this? And not have folded dirty clothes in the shot.
That's hilarious.
So it's something you have to think about when you do this kind of stuff on the road. So, but yes, I do rearrange a lot of rooms I go into.
That's really funny.
So what are you drinking over there tonight?
All right, so as you know, I'm still working through the BrewDog Advent Calendar. My current wife got me the BrewDog Advent Calendar for Christmas. It has a lot of really exclusive beers that only come in that box, but before I get to those, I got to drink some other ones, which are fine. They have a good selection of beers, but today I'm starting off with Hazy Jane, which is their kind of standard IPA, New England style IPA.
Standard IPA.
It's fine. It's an IPA. It is what it is, but later I have a couple really good ones I'm going to get to, and I'm looking forward to those. So it's going to be good.
Excellent.
You gotta Irish up that Red Bull a little bit, though.
If I'd had time, I would have absolutely did that.
Because again, cardiologists love Red Bull and vodkas. That's they love when their patients drink those. It's good for the heart.
I mean, why would you not? I mean, I like vodka. I like Red Bull. Why not put them together?
The Red Bull gets the heart going faster. The vodka slows it down. It equals out in the end. It's very healthy for you.
Yes.
By the way,
Why
we're
is
not
it my
doctors.
phone rotating? Oh, it's on power save. I guess rotation has ended on power save.
You having some phone problems there, David?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to keep up on comments.
I'm not seeing any comments. If you see comments, let me know. None are coming through to me.
Well, I see Dan.
Dan,
is
there's
hey,
Dan.
how's it going?
I see one from Dan. Dan, how you doing?
Now, that's a small can, even in West's hands, he says.
But I'm bummed. It's true, I have the tiny Carney hands, which is why my last name is Carnahan.
Yep.
It's true. When you hold a Red Bull can, it looks like you're holding a shot glass.
Yeah. These are.
You basically hold it like this, like a little dainty, like when Gandalf is drinking his glass of wine.
Yeah, a glass of wine in The Hobbit. So I'm out here, and you know me. I look for cigar lounges,
Of course.
and I found one yesterday, and it's called Grand Havana.
Ooh, nice.
And I go there. I'm like, hey, they've got like gelato and like chocolate brownies. Now, I didn't try any of the brownies for fear of getting one of those brownies, right?
You never know in California.
And I just assumed that when they had all that, they're going to have bourbon. Sweet. I'm going to go have myself a glass of bourbon.
Wait, so they have
they don't have
brownies and like
bourbon.
dessert food at a cigar lounge?
At a cigar lounge.
That's
yes.
weird. Is that weird?
But they didn't have alcohol they had coffee.
I get that.
Yeah.
I could go for like an espresso while you're having a cigar. I get that.
Well, I was like, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not. Not my style. And he's like, no, you got to give it a try. I'm like, okay. What's the least coffee drink you can think of?
The least
So he's
coffee
like, I'll
drink.
make you. He said, I'll make you a vanilla latte.
Okay, fair enough.
And I said, okay, all right, make me a vanilla latte.
You should have
And he
said
made it
thanks
for
a
me.
latte. You missed your opportunity, David. You missed that
That
opportunity.
Yes, I left a dad joke on the table. I'll pay for it later. But so I go and I stop there and I've got this cup. Now the cup is like, I mean, it's a decent sized cup.
Right.
But the handle on it's just little teeny.
It actually had a handle.
You can't get a grip on it. So here's this bowl basically with this little teeny tiny
coffee.
handle. So you can't just lift it and drink it. You got to have you got to raise your whole elbow up,
right,
and sip on this thing.
That's
now
hilarious.
I don't like coffee.
Sure.
And anybody that was driving by watching me, they're like, that guy, something wrong with him. A little. He didn't know what he's doing, and it showed.
That's pretty fun.
And they
it's
would
a cigar lounge. Why are they having frou-frou drinks at a cigar lounge?
But that's what it made me. Now, I did notice the bitterness of the coffee because I had an aged Maduro cigar from Grand Havana. And so the bitterness of the coffee, which for you people who drink that, what the hell?
Dude, I love coffee. That cigar sounds like it would be amazing with a nice espresso or even like an iced cold brew. Man, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, try it. You'll love it. Try it. You'll love it.
So what I did, I started, and I drank. I didn't want to hurt this guy's feelings. I ordered coffee. He made me something that he thought would be as easy to drink as I could drink.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, fine. I'm gonna drink this coffee, and I did. I made it through that whole damn thing. But down towards the end, I'm like, all right. I started taking the back end of my cigar and stirring it in the coffee, and then smoking my cigar with like that.
Okay.
And I will never order another latte to drink, but I might order one to dip my cigar in and smoke. But
that's hilarious.
I don't think it would do. I don't think it would do well with like a Connecticut wrap or something that was very light bodied. I think it worked very well with the full bodied Maduro, aged Maduro cigar.
Okay, when you're back in town, I'm going to take you to get a really good coffee, and we're going to take it to La Chivetta to have cigars. Look, here's the thing.
Okay.
You used to be a guy who'd only drink Budweiser. And you didn't want anything to do with the Hefeweizen because you didn't want to drink a banana beer. Right? Look at you now. I'm telling you. Now
it's hands down my favorite beer.
Same thing is true with coffee, okay? When you're used to having shitty coffee, you're going to have a shitty experience. When you have really good coffee, it makes all the difference in the world. I'm telling you.
I would have to assume. I mean, this guy seemed to know what he was doing, and the machine went buzz, whiz, all the noises that it's supposed to do. That wouldn't have been the choice I would have had if I were in your shoes, but I think it's even more weird. They had dessert snack treats at a cigar lounge. That's weird to me. It really took me. Oh, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the calendar. I was looking for a calendar because there is news on that. So the week of the 8th and 9th, that Thursday, Friday, I believe I'll be back in town.
All right.
I'm bringing a crew over there to do some training. The very next week, the week of the 14th, I've got to be in Missouri from like the 13th to the 15th. Actually, from the 12th to the 15th, possibly. I don't think that's going to play well with the current wife, although I don't think she really cares about celebrating Valentine's Day.
You cannot, dude. First of all, I'm not doing anything on Valentine's Day because my current wife would not approve. So I got to say that yours probably wouldn't also. Just putting that out there. Valentine's Day is off for me at least, so you should take that time as well. Nikki, you're welcome.
The Thursday's the 15th, so that's fine. But no, I got to go to Missouri for work, and then in March, the first week of March, I'm back out here in San Diego. But the good news is I'm slowing down my travels.
Slowing down your travels. You have this whole hemisphere, but you're slowing down your travels.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten out of the country yet. I'm supposed to run into a meeting in Toronto next week, but I think I'm gonna skip it.
Canada. Oh, Canada.
Yeah. Oh, Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll skip.
You can do better. They're not my client, so I can say that.
No, there'll be other representation there. So I think it's well handled. I don't think they need me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure they would let you in the country, frankly, after some of the things that you've said about them.
but it's true.
Canada.
If I've said it, that means it's true.
Of course, of course. So, David, what do you have in the news today? You got anything in the news?
Nothing in the news, but I was sitting and talking to actually one of my old supervisors, boss, El Jefe, whatever.
Yeah.
Today, and I showed him our website. I was talking about the transition from print on demand over to
right.
And we were talking about basically the scale of the revenue coming in to make the transition from print on demand to that to bulk,
yeah,
where you can increase your margin. And he made a kind of a topic or a conversation with me about it, and he talked about the growth of the product versus the growth of the brand. And
sure.
I thought, damn, we have never actually broken the two up, where you're able to grow your brand and the product is kind of, you start with a product and then you grow your brand. And he made a great case in point was Yeti.
Oh, 100%.
Yeti starts as a thermos.
Mm-hmm.
And now, has the product exceeded? No, the product's the product. I mean, there are 50 people that make the same damn thing. But Yeti, the brand.
But the brand is right. No, you're totally right.
Is a status.
Right.
So and that's something that is very good. I think I would like to do some, I don't want to call it experiments, but let's just call it experiments on Ash and Barrel threads about growing the products. And then separately, let's see if there's a way that we can create mileposts or something like that. Some kind of there's metrics that we can gauge the growth of the actual brand.
Right. So
I think that would be a wonderful thing to kind of case study.
Yeah, that's a really cool experiment because I think a lot of people, especially people in people who are trying to break out in apparel and stuff like that, they do it. The reason most of them don't succeed is they're trying to go about it the opposite way. They're trying to go the backwards way. They're trying to accentuate their brand. They're trying to put their logo all over everything before they actually have a product people want. And why would somebody want to wear somebody else's branding if nobody's ever heard of the company? Like, nobody wants this big branded shirt with all this big weird logo on it if nobody has any idea what that is, right? Because they look at things like FUBU, or they look at things like Marc Jacobs or Tommy Hilfiger or any of those classic brands where people know the brand and people will buy the brand. And they got started as a brand only because big influencers wore these brands to begin with to really kick off their phase. But they didn't have a grassroots, ground up approach to growing this brand. Those were complete anomalies. You're right about Yeti, where they had a great product, people loved the product, and the product happened to be associated made by this brand, and after a while the brand took over where the product
took over
off.
The product.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's great.
So he got me talking. We got talking about that, and I was like, "Gee, Christmas! I wish I had a bowl of pretzels and some beer right now, because this is exactly the type of stuff that you and I would have delved into and spoke for hours, and just and we'd have had so many napkins with shit written on Sharpie.
You love your napkin diagrams. You love those.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good time. It's a good time. I took some. I think I finally threw them all away. I took some pictures of them, and it just got. I was like, all right, you gotta go. You gotta go.
We did I'm
losing the ability to interpret them.
So for those who don't know, watching and listening, we started a sort of a style brand called Ash and Barrel, and all of the creative and the brand itself were created by AI. The company name, the branding of the company, the designs for the T-shirts, all created by AI. Now we will get in there and make some stuff ourselves and have make it more our own.
Yes.
But there's some pretty cool stuff on there. So go to ashandbarrelthreads.com and see some of the stuff that AI created for us already. And I want to buy some of those T-shirts. There's some cool T-shirts up there.
Yes. And I've got to. I just went ahead and checked. Honeywell. Facebook has me blocked from sending messages again. So it's the
Oh,
bulk
man.
messages. It's the
Mhm.
bulk messages at the beginning of the shows
Yep.
that's causing the flag.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Meta is really weird, right? Meta's in a weird place. And I don't know if it's because, look, I'm not getting political, but I don't know if it's because election season's coming up, but they've really, really, really been cracking down on limiting certain activities. Even if you're not posting controversial things, uh, they have some really odd things happening in their algorithm right now, but that I think we're all going to hear a lot more about very soon because it's really starting to piss some people off who happen to have really big voices. Um, I've actually been running, so I haven't even told you, David. I've been running some experiments with other types of social interactions, and I'll share this stuff later. But one of the channels that I started has been throttled like crazy. I'm only allowed to post like once a day. I'm allowed to have like one reply per post across the entire platform per day. I mean, it throttled this account like crazy. And it didn't say why.
Wow.
It just said we only allow our users to do, a certain number of actions per day to protect our community. I'm not posting anything weird. It's just they're doing weird things with the algorithm, and we're digging into it. So more to come on that. It's going to be a really interesting time to talk about that. This year is going to be a
Are we
crazy
going to have
year,
another
man.
algorithm show?
We might have to. Mark Zuckerberg, we're coming for you, man. Zuck, we know what you're doing.
Yep.
Just saying.
We know all about you and Francine and Francois.
All right. Yeah. Now our show is totally going to get cut off. All right. So I do actually have a couple of news items, which I know you'll love.
Excellent.
I know you'll love these things because you love AI.
I do like AI.
You do. It's I know you use it all the time. You won't admit to it, but you do.
I've been using it a little bit more lately.
So the first one is I don't have an article on this. I tried to save it, and I thought that I saved it, but I didn't. And that's one of the things during our countdown I was looking for that I thought that I had, but I didn't save. So, the head of OpenAI, the ChatGPT company, Sam Altman,
Yep.
right? Go ahead and Google this guy. Anytime you see a
Oh, my
picture of
Lord.
him, every time you see a picture of him, he's wearing a backpack, a blue backpack, every single time, right? And you don't really think about it.
Is he AI himself?
Well, you don't really think about the backpack. It's kind of innocuous. You don't really think about it. But there are some strong rumors coming out of actual OpenAI saying that there's a hardened, secured computer that he keeps in that backpack that he keeps with him at all times that has a kill code built into it to where if at any point one of their platforms, ChatGPT or something else they're working on, gets a little bit antsy, he has a kill code for this AI. I don't know if it's true. I'm just saying this is what is coming out of sources at OpenAI. It's kind of a fun thought, though. I don't know.
I'm all right with it. That actually sounds pretty cool.
Right? It sounds like a sci-fi movie. I think it's kind of cool. But I do have another story coming out of OpenAI. OpenAI is Sam Altman.
We could actually have OpenAI write a movie script and name it the Altman Backpack, and write the script about having a scenario where he had to use the backpack to kill AI.
Right? Look, I'm sure somebody's working on it right now. I have no doubt. But, okay, so here's the thing. So, OpenAI's Sam Altman says human-level AI is coming. And they've actually been saying this for a while. They are anticipating late 2024 or early 2025 human-level AI. So, human-level AI is coming, but will change the world in much less than we think it will. Basically, the whole point of this article is saying, yeah, human-level AI, or even higher, is coming. But it's not going to be a game changer. It's not going to take away a bajillion jobs. You know what's going to happen is, if you guys remember the early internet, how many people were saying the internet's going to take so many jobs? It's going to take our jobs. And guess what? Some people weren't doing the same job they were doing later, or that they were doing before they're doing now. They had to change what they do. You adapt to the new technology that comes out, and at the end, there's probably more jobs than there were before because there's more things to do. And the same will be true with AI. right? You'll just have to learn how to use it. And frankly, most AI platforms are pretty intuitive. So even Sam Altman says, look, it's coming, but it's not going to be the end of the world because you'll learn how to use it, and it will learn how to interact with you, and eventually you'll probably have more jobs in the end because of it. So I think he's totally right on this one. I don't think it's going to take all the jobs. They're taking our jobs. But here's the funny thing. I have another news article coming up that ties directly into this that says maybe AI is taking some jobs, some pretty high-level jobs. What do you think about this, David?
Well, yeah, graphic designers, you're screwed.
No, I'm not just talking about graphic designers. I'm talking about C-suite.
Depends on which C you're talking about, I guess.
There's a lot of C's in the C-suite. Boy, that's a bad thing to say. But look, it's an interesting thought. David just got that. All right. So
it got funnier the longer I thought about it.
It usually does. All right. Okay, where's the next one? Oh man, hang on. I lost my link there. 1 second. Dead air. I'm working on it.
Sorry.
Here's another one that's not
related.
related.
Did you email up the chain?
Here's another one that's not related to that, but I wanted to get your thought on this. Here's an interesting article I found on LinkedIn News. Bonuses are getting the squeeze. Because I have mixed thoughts, but I actually have pretty interesting feelings on this. A tighter job market in which companies aren't compensating as much to retain employees is crimping bonuses. The average payment fell 21% last month from a year earlier to just over $2,000, according to payroll software company Gusto, which tracks 300,000 small businesses. While almost half of private sector workers are employed by small companies, similar trend emerged among businesses of all sizes. Outplacing firm yada 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 found that proportion of employers declining to award any bonus at all climbed to 34%, up from 27% in 2022. So basically it's saying bonuses are down, and companies are giving smaller bonuses, and some are dropping out of the bonus structure altogether. I see two sides of this. They didn't really differentiate here.
Yeah.
So you have bonuses that are contractually obligated, and you have bonuses that are like a Christmas bonus. They just throw you a bone. So look, before I get to tell you my feelings on it, I'll tell you, I used to work for a company, a really good company, an agency, who had a crap ton of money. And I've told interesting stories about this company before, without mentioning the name, by the way. But one year, their idea of a Christmas bonus to very, very high earners in the company, including myself, no, it's worse. It's worse. A Christmas ornament with the company logo on it. Was the company bonus. Christmas bonus. For not just, the people who sweep the floors, but like the only bonus that anybody saw, regardless of their level, unless you were VP or above. And then you got a hefty almost six-figure bonus in some cases, depending on if they were sales-related or not. But, so yeah, there's that. But generally speaking, look, unless it's contractually obligated, here's my feeling, a bonus is a bonus. You're not promised this. When you take the job, unless it's contractually obligated, it's not part of your pay structure. It's nice to have, and it makes you feel really, really valued. But, like, if you don't get it, you didn't lose anything. That's my feeling.
Yeah. There was actually a bit of conversation around this topic about September, October-ish of last year.
Uh-huh.
And there was certain people in my industry, and actually in my business, that were making the comments like, "Oh, this is not this is not your pay. This is a bonus." And all of us are going, "No, this isn't our contract. This is our pay structure."
Yeah, that's different, and that makes a bit.
That's obligated. It's if you want to give us a bonus, that's something above that. That's
right.
something beyond that. We don't get bonuses. We get paid our and then they've made a good job at taking care of it. But it is a contract, and I have to agree with you on this fully. If it's obligated, it's obligated. It's part of the pay structure. It's part of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're compensated for your time. And if you're rewarded higher for getting higher marks, well, that's part of it. That's not a bonus. That's an incentive or a quota attainment
Right.
pay. Bonuses are completely, good job. You got yourself an ornament. Quit your bitching and move on. I mean,
Right. Yeah. And and there's
although
all shades of gray
Jelly
on
of the
this
Month
too.
Club does sound better.
You know what? Beer of the Month Club is even better. But look, I love jelly. I love toast. It's a
Yeah.
thing. But there's all shades of gray on this, right? Like I worked for a company who I'm not going to say the name of the company, but I really have and had at the time strong feelings. They had strong ties to certain organized crime organizations, but they actually made the bonus structure impossible to get a bonus because what they would do is before it came time for the annual bonus, they would have you fill out a survey about yourself, and they'd make the questions impossibly difficult to get to even give yourself a positive review, because you'd also have to go over each one of these answers with the one of the VPs, which happened to be the owner's daughter. And I mean, it was just literally impossible to get any kind of a bonus. I mean, you were happy just to keep a job after you went through this review of yourself with the owner's daughter. So, look, unless it's contractually obligated, I don't feel bad about bonuses going down. It's a bonus. It's a bonus. It's not part of you're not
But
losing anything by not getting it.
It also goes to show that what we've been talking about, these good times to start businesses. When we started this channel back in 2020, let's imagine that somebody started a business then, what it would be today.
Yeah, you're right.
We've had a hell of a recovery, mainly because we dipped so bleeding low. But now we're actually heading into a time where there's certain dollars that are being used to, I'm going to call it float the economy right now. But,
yeah, and that's another weird thing that
we're seeing it.
Right.
Yeah, we're seeing the overall results. When you have this, I mean, this is quite a large jump for people that's not offering any, from 27% to 34%.
That's a lot.
That's a significant jump. To just say none, and then you're having a 21% over month. It says the average payment last month was 21% last month down. So, and that's what the people who are still getting it is 21% down, and we have a pretty decent delta of people who are just saying no.
Right.
No, we're out. We can't do it.
And digging deeper into this, I kind of feel like some of this comes from the trend that's been happening since 2020, where people aren't staying with jobs longer. Why are companies going to offer a really good incentive, a bonus, to employees if they're going to leave after 6 months? Like, it's why would they do that? I mean, yeah, you want to give good incentive to keep your employees happy, make them want to stay, but at the same time, if there's this overall trend of job hopping, like, I kind of don't blame them, because at the same time, if you're going to hop away, somebody else is going to hop into your spot.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
So that's I mean that sword cuts both directions as well. Is are the companies creating a place that a person wants to be loyal to? Back in the day, even before really my time. I mean, luckily I've fallen in with a couple of places that when I left Hard Fire, I mean that was a big huge decision. Because that's kind of one of those places you go to, and that's where you work. That's who you are. That's part of what you become. And I one of these days I may go back. Who knows?
I still say you should buy the place, man.
It's not off the table. I'm just saying it's not
different conversation. I get it.
Different conversation. But and that's it. They have that loyalty in. And my son just got into my industry as well. This is his second week working now, and he's now in the life safety industry. And I told him the same thing. I said, a lot of places you go, it's you have a job. The place you're at, these people are going to be loyal, and they're going to create that loyalty in you, so that it's not. I'm not worried about him going and job hopping. He's not. I mean, they're not going to lose him over if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I'm going to give them $1 an hour."
It's
or I'm going to give you another $50,000 a year.
But the funny thing, so that industry, I think, you actually see a sort of a shift in employee retention and loyalty as you shift from, from very blue collar gradually up into the very white collar, into the, even up into the executive level beyond white collar. And I would still say that industry is somewhat blue collar in that you have to get your hands dirty. If you're doing your job, you got to go out and get your hands dirty, versus a very office-y corporate environment where you have people who are getting annoyed that they ran out of the right K-cups that day. I mean, it's a very, very different thing. And you're right. I think the industry that you're talking about does have more customer or employee loyalty because you are more of a family.
It does.
You work together, you get your hands dirty together, you know each other, you go out for beers afterwards probably together.
Yeah.
In the other world, they only see each other at the office, and chances are they don't even like each other there.
So with the role I'm in now, I don't see. I see my customers a decent amount. I still travel. I still shake my hand.
But you come from that world,
and
so you understand the loyalty.
World, so it's real easy for me to relate with them. But my coworkers, I met 2 people that I've been teamed with for over a year. I just met them today, or met them. Met them.
Yeah. My previous company.
I met them last night.
My previous company. I hadn't met anybody else, the entire company, before. Period. They were all based all over the country. I'd never met a single one of them. So it's a different world, man. We live in a weird place right now.
It is strange. So I'm talking with a guy here, and he's like, well, I've got an office in this location, but my main office is in Turin, Italy. And I'm like, that's where we'll meet.
Yeah, that's cool. Look, if you need somebody to carry your luggage for you, let me know. I'm in, man.
I was actually going to put it out there that if anybody wants to go to Turin with me, you have to pay for your flight. But outside of that, actually, that's a joke. I probably won't go to Turin. He's got an office also in New Jersey, and I live in New York, so I'll probably meet him in New Jersey.
So Jersey's slightly less interesting than Turin. But look, I'm not judging.
He's also got an office in South Bend, Indiana, and I said no to that.
Look, I don't think they have any...
Although that would put me next door to... that would put me in Notre Dame. And of all the places I've been, I've never been to Notre Dame. I want to go to Notre Dame. I want to get into the stadium, and I want to walk onto the field, and I'm going to shout Rudy.
Sure, Turin.
All right? That's what's going to happen.
Sure, Turin, Italy, Notre Dame. You got a lot of Catholics either way.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes. So, although I probably will, if we get going and we ink a deal with him, I mean, I'll probably go over and say hi. But again, you were talking about that loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to instill it.
Yeah, Southern Ohio. I get it.
In case my first wife was watching, yes, I say the word steal very hillbilly.
Instill.
Instill.
You gotta when something is instilled. I mean, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about, but it sounds right in context.
Yes, it's hard to instill that loyalty when you are so spread out.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, companies.
But I would agree with you. I would agree with you on the blue collar versus the white collar as well. I mean, I have a white collar job with a blue tint. How's that?
You know what? You're a blue collar guy in a white collar world. That's what it is. I think you bring that level of hands on. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. Let's dig into this together and make it happen. Loyalty type about you in a world of faceless corporate environment. That's what happened. That's what it is.
It does feel that way sometimes. But yeah, so I actually never did get the topic today, the agenda.
I got one more piece of news that kind of ties everything back together a little bit.
And we're tying it back.
So we talked earlier about how AI is not. It's human level AI is coming. It's inevitable. But Sam Altman.
All right.
Sure.
There's a significant difference in human eye.
Okay.
At what part of the human eye is this a human level AI?
I think they're talking about the intuitiveness of the AI.
Okay.
The intuitiveness to be able to anticipate what you need before you ask for it, and combined with the idea of, I forget the name of the experiment, when you're speaking to an AI, whether you can differentiate whether it's computer or not. Right now, you can still kind of tell, right? It's not perfect.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell. It's not always going to be that way. It's getting better. And that's what they're saying. That level of intuitiveness combined with the level of, I'll say real world knowledge in that it can read all of the news happening in the world in real time. and the ability to fool you with language modeling to where you can't tell if it's human or not. So you could be speaking with somebody, and you won't be able to tell if it's a human or not. I mean, you can ask it all kinds of questions, and it will sound perfectly human. They can program in personality types. They can program in that it will react to your personality type with a new unique personality type. That's what they mean. They don't mean it's actually going to be an individual. And maybe it will be an individual. That's a whole different conversation. I personally
that is something good, because think about it. Think about humans you interact with. Think about the human beings that you interact with.
Right.
People who have a certain attitude or kind of sense about them. I mean, there are certain people that just set your teeth on edge.
Right.
I would love to piss off an AI.
Well, here's the funny thing. Man, I really... Okay, this is completely off topic, so we're going to get back to it. But I really wish I had saved an article about this. When Microsoft created the AI, they put on Twitter, and it was there for like 2 weeks, and it learned everything it knew from Twitter. Its entire personality, its entire everything it wrote and tweeted about. And I think it was after like 2 days, they had to discontinue the entire project because it became the most racist, bigoted, horrible example of a human being, if this were a human being, you could ever imagine. It was putting the worst things imaginable online and in post form, and it was just, it's hilarious to think about that.
I am actually going to have to go back and search into that and find out what some of those posts were.
Look it up. I don't remember the name of the project, but it's hilarious. I mean, it was a really short amount of time. They had to cut the entire project. And this was a few years ago, actually. So imagine what currently exists that we just don't know. Because here's the funny thing. Look, OpenAI, all the stuff that you're aware of, I guarantee you this, okay? Everything that you're aware of right now, just imagine what's happening behind closed doors that people don't know exists. Imagine what the Chinese government's doing behind closed doors. Imagine what the U.S. government is doing behind closed doors that we just don't know about. I'm not saying it's evil. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying there's probably some pretty crazy stuff happening that, man, I would love to see in a movie.
Excellent.
I'm not saying it's going to take over the world. I'm just saying I want to see what's happening because it's got to be awesome.
All right, Smithers.
All right. So, okay. So here's
Tie it back together.
So, Sam Altman says human-level AI is coming. It's inevitable, and it is. I think it'll happen at the end of this year, early next year. That's what they've been saying. But he's saying that the AI that's coming isn't going to displace as many jobs as they think. It's not really going to impact society that much. In fact, if anything, it's going to add more jobs because we're going to have more things to do, more ways to interact with technology. But there are some cases where I think AI might be sort of causing some people to jump the gun and eliminate some jobs for good or for bad. This article is an example of that. I don't think it ties that together, but I think it's actually related, and I'll tell you why. This is from Fortune that I actually found on LinkedIn. Fortune 500 companies are eliminating chief marketing officer roles as positions lose C-suite clout. Fewer Fortune 500 companies have a standalone CMO as the role becomes more data-driven. And basically what it's saying is more of the responsibilities of the CMO are falling upon the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, which, look, as a marketing guy, I have very strong feelings about. I think that's actually a mistake. I'm not a fan of that idea because the COO has a full plate already, and a CMO, if they're doing their job, if they're doing their job, that's the role of like 3 full-time people. CMOs are generally very, very busy people. So COOs out there, I'm sorry this is happening to you. And, from personal experience, I will say my last role at a Fortune 500 company I was at, they were acquired, and the first person to sort of, I'm not going to say she jumped the ship, I'm going to say she was helped off the ship with a nice parachute, was the CMO. It happened. That was the very first person to go, and I'm not sure if they ever replaced them. Frankly, I think they sort of just divvied up the responsibilities among other people. But this is a thing that's happening, and I think this is just a thing in my head. I think it's related to AI. Since so many more people have access to the data, more people feel like they can do the job, and they're like, "Well, we don't need to pay that person. We don't need to pay that person 6 figures for a C-suite role. We can have these other people at their current roles just integrate the abilities into the roles." I think long term, that's going to change. But I think given the current sort of trend towards technology and data, I think that's what's happening. What do you think?
I think I'd like to see it. I like to see it stop. This is a terrible idea. Not every. I mean, I get it.
You think the CMO should stay?
I think the CMO should stay because there is only so much you can pull from data. And I know there are people out there that will disagree with me till they're blue in the face. And that's fine. You can do that. You are perfectly allowed to be wrong.
I'm with you, man. Look, data is great, right? Data is great, but as a marketing guy,
it should be used to help the decision, not make the decision.
So you're in sales, and this same thing can be related to sales.
Yeah.
Look, data is king, in my opinion. Data is king. But there's a certain level of intuition that comes into play, and I think intuitiveness makes more sense in this case than intuition. There's a certain level of intuitiveness that you need to implement the data, right? You need to take the information the data gives you, interpret it into real-world capabilities, and say, how can we act upon this data, right? It's not just... And the thing is, you still need someone up top. Here's the role of the CMO, okay? Here's the role of the CMO. The CMO is basically the manager of all of these different, marketing orgs, and deeply intrinsic to the sales orgs, I think, as well, within large companies. And what they do is they direct what's happening. They then take all the information from their reports, and they translate that to the other C-suite members, especially the CEO and COO. And guess what? They give their feedback back to the CMO, and they then translate that back to their teams. When you don't have that conduit of information, the whole thing doesn't work as efficiently as it could. That's what the CMO is. That's what any C-suite is.
I'm gonna change one word. I'm gonna change one word in your sentence there. Do you know which one it is?
Conduit. You think I used it inappropriately? I know. I'm not an electrician like some people.
It was not conduit. It was it's by trade. I am an electrician, but it was not conduit. It was I would get rid of efficient, and I would go to effective.
Look. It's a gray, wavy line between efficiency and effectiveness, and I know your feelings on efficiency.
It's not a gray.
You love efficiency, and you love people telling you should be more efficient. And if you used more AI, you'd be way more efficient. I got to tell you that your efficiency level is way down.
No, my efficiency level is perfect.
I don't care how effective you are, David. Your efficiency level is far too low.
I don't care about it because I'm effective.
Your effectiveness is sky high. But that doesn't matter if your efficiency is too low, David.
No. See, moving on.
Moving on. Oh, David's blood pressure going up.
We could literally get stuck. We could literally get stuck in a loop and be efficiency versus effectiveness for the rest of the show. Dan
McDonald says, "I was told one time I was too efficient, and shouldn't be."
Shouldn't be.
That's really funny. Dan, have you ever been told you're too effective? Because that's David's real hang up. He'd rather be more effective than efficient.
Yeah, my goal, I want to be effective. I don't care about it. If you are truly effective, you will be as efficient as you need. That is how it goes. And then when you start trying to be more efficient,
right,
then the only thing you can do is cut into your effectiveness. And if you have to pick, being overly effective is not going to lose you market share. Being overly efficient will.
Right. Well, you know what? And the funny thing is, I do agree. I totally agree with you. I just bust your balls on this. I think it's funny. But I do. See, here's how here's an analogy that I think of. I think of my work desk, right? So my work desk is a mess. I have piles of stuff everywhere. And it's not because it's just how my brain works, right? Like if I need something, I know right where it is. For me, it's the most effective to have these things in a pile over here, these things in a pile over here, and these things over here. I know where everything is. It's the most effective for me to reach over here and grab here, and do this and this and this, right? Versus if somebody came along and said, no, you'd improve your efficiency if you had everything in complete perfect order and it was all very neat and tidy. In their mind, maybe that's the most effective for them, and they're thinking the efficiency is leading to effectiveness. But I don't think efficiency always does lead to effectiveness. I think sometimes effectiveness dictates what efficiency can be. You shouldn't let one lead the other.
It should be. It should be. You want to be effective, and there's ways. You don't want to be wasteful. But if you are truly being effective, it will inherently create the leanness or create the efficiency
I think
that you need.
So I think we're not saying it as efficiently or effectively as we could. I think okay. So here's how it is. Here's how I see it, and tell me if I'm wrong.
You're saying they're symbiotic.
Well, no. Well, sort of. They're definitely symbiotic. But tell me if I'm wrong here. Effectiveness is purely objective, right? Effectiveness is by the numbers you can prove how effective something is.
Yes.
Efficiency is subjective, right? What's efficient for you isn't necessarily efficient for me. What's efficient for me isn't necessarily efficient for Dan McDonald or Nikki Leffingwell. Efficiency is subjective. Effectiveness is objective. So which should take the higher priority? Yes. Right? I think effectiveness
every time.
I think effectiveness, you're right. You're totally right. Effectiveness should dictate efficiency on the subjective level. Ooh, there you go. Am I wrong?
All right. Wait a minute. Say that again. That last part there, my head's still stuck in the loop.
Well, since effectiveness is objective, so objective for all those watching and listening, objectivity means it's true across the board. It's you look at static.
It's not up to your opinion.
You look at static statistics. I say that 5 times faster than you've been drinking. Static statistics that are indisputable. That's objectivity. Yeah. So effectiveness is objective. Subjective means it's different for me versus what's true for you, right? Subjective. Efficiency, what's efficient for me isn't going to be the same level of efficiency for you. So Nikki Leffingwell said that I reminded her of her home office. So, our slovenly kept desks are just stuff everywhere. It works for us. It's efficient for us. It's probably not going to be efficient for you. So what's effective
go to my
for
desk
us,
and go to her desk.
So what's effective for us isn't going to be effective for you because our efficiencies are different based on our how we tend to live our lives. So I think in that case, I think effectiveness should drive efficiency, not the other way around.
Yes.
See, you got to use that argument the next time somebody says, "David, you got to be more efficient."
That's what I keep saying. So I don't know how many bosses up it was, but the guy who basically ran the Americas over here for over $1 billion industry, I was talking with him down in Atlanta, and he said something about efficiency. I'm like, I don't try for efficiency. And he stopped walking. I'm walking with him. He stopped walking. He's like, you get paid on efficiency. I'm like, no, I don't. I get paid on effectiveness.
There you go.
I said, I'll take effectiveness over every day of the week. And this guy's, big title, had biscuits and eating. And, most people are, nervous talking to him. And I'm just sitting here telling him straight up, I don't give a flip about your efficiency. I want to be effective.
Yeah.
And, when you look back at my numbers are there.
Right. Because what's efficient for you happens to be your process. What's efficient for, some guy who got his MBA and loves, XYZ in specific orders, that's more effective for him because his efficiency is different.
So Dan says, who uses more Post-its for useful notes on the daily workflow? So I don't have a single Post-it note on my desk. I don't have a single one. I don't have a stack of Post-it notes. There are probably Post-it notes in the house, and I used to use.
I don't use Post-it notes. My kids play with them.
I used to use Post-it notes, but yeah, since moving over, I don't. And they were just things. They were like long-term things. Hey, this is the login username and password for this thing that really shouldn't be written and posted up here where anybody can walk in and see it. But that's what
he said. Dave doesn't use a desk.
Yeah. So I have a desk.
So I actually don't use Post-it notes. I think it's just not how I do things. I actually use. I love spreadsheets, man. I'm a big nerd. So I actually use Google Docs for my spreadsheets, and I have it linked to my laptop. I have it linked to my phone. My spreadsheets are everywhere whenever I need them. So I love my spreadsheets, man. I don't use Post-its.
Yeah. I like spreadsheets. And I like Word docs. And,
right.
I put it. It's like you use Google. I use Office, so I have a 365 personal account and I have a Office 365 business account. I mean, there is a definite firewall between the new. OneNote.
Yeah,
OneNote
OneNote's great.
I like using OneNote
OneNote's
as well.
awesome. I only use Google because it's free and I'm cheap. But aside from that, OneNote's great. You're right. Also,
I've been paying
yeah.
for.
Go ahead.
I've been paying for Office for so long and that OneDrive for so long that.
That's where all your stuff is.
What's funny is I have unlimited storage through Google. I have unlimited storage through Amazon that is free. I don't use either one of those. I pay for Microsoft.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah. Nope.
I mean, I've got I have a terabyte of space on the OneDrive, and I think I'm at somewhere in the 400, 500 gigabytes of data on my personal OneDrive.
Dan McDonald says
there's a couple
things
there.
Portable apps has great safe shareware that has both of those and 100% free. Yeah, I totally agree. And we should do a whole show just on this, on the different free software people can use, because there's a lot of good options out there
to manage.
Yeah,
there is. We haven't done one of those in a while. Like we used to do like, hey, here's some of the technology we found. This is our. We picked the software we used to broadcast with, from trying them out on the show.
Yeah, that was very like 2020. That was very early on. Yeah.
Yeah. When we first started, we literally just fired up.
I think our first streaming platform was Caster in 2020. So yeah, it was a different world. So we got to do that again. Yeah, we'll come up with a good show for next week and find some good software to run through.
All right, so let's get on over to this topic because I got at max a half hour left, and then I've got to split.
Oh well, I wish you'd told me that a half hour ago. All right. Okay, so we do actually.
That gives us an hour. That gives us an hour and a half show. So I think it's
perfect. We can do that. We can make it happen. All right. So I was as you do, scrolling through Forbes because I'm a high level kind of guy, and I found a really cool article. Go ahead and share my screen here. One sec. Dead air. Here we go. All righty. A cool article about 5 ChatGPT prompts to build a 100-year brand. The title, it's kind of clickbaity, but it caught my eye, and I kind of like it. Because, I love AI. I know you love AI, David. But basically what it is this guy has an agency called, of course, the 100-Year Brand. He loves branding, which is why he talks about this. All right. So basically what he does is he apparently works for really big companies. Let's see. He says some of the companies he's worked for is Carnivore Snacks, Gold Medal Wine Club, Factory 75, the Rich Dad Poor Dad guy.
Oh, the big companies.
Basically what he does is he works with big companies and helps them with their branding. And he gave 5 tips and actually gave 5 prompts to go along with how to build your brand and actually grow. I think a lot of these are based more towards B2B companies, but we can make it work with B2C. So we're gonna use his prompts to apply that to Underdog Plus and see if we can actually get. Good. What?
This is as we were talking, either was it before the show or on the show, we were talking about it was on the show about building the brand and the product.
Right.
As you're trying to build the product and build the brand, and how to kind of bring that together, and completely and utterly accidental. We have some ChatGPT prompts for you to utilize to help that brand side.
Exactly.
So let's dig into it and see what we got.
Exactly. So I thought about doing this with Ash and Barrel, but I thought, you know what? I have the new flavors launching for Underdog Plus. I got the pumpkin spice, which is amazing. I love the way my house smells when I'm cooking these things, baking these things. Pumpkin spice. I got the apple bacon, which is awesome. And, of course, I have the Apple Crunch. These 3 new flavors are launching. And, look, I thought it's perfect to try and build that brand up some more. So we're going to make it happen. All right. So we're going to use his prompts. So we're going to go through. And basically he talks about the X factor. Let's see what that is. Build a brand that goes the distance with ChatGPT. Define your X factor. In a sea of, here's something, when I started reading this, I had to stop and reread it. In a sea of sameness, you can only compete on price. Right? Now, we've talked about how that's not true. And no one wants to do that because, of course,
that's not true.
Competing on price is a race to the bottom, right? So
Race to the bottom,
right.
yeah.
So here's actually where he agrees with us. Stand out.
Let's bring up the screen so that everybody else can see it too.
Ah, crap. All right, hang on. I'm getting there. See, this is what happens when I keep shifting back and forth. 1 second here.
Yeah. I figured that's why I reminded you.
All right, so
the gentle nudge.
Build a brand that goes the distance. In a sea of sameness, you can only compete on price. I wish they had prefaced this on saying the misconception about the sea of sameness. The sea of sameness, you can only compete on price. We know that's not true, and no one wants to do that. Of course they don't. Stand out for something else is what you need to do. Find your X factor. Basically saying what makes you stand out from your competition. What makes your brand, your product, your company different from everybody else who's doing pretty much the same thing? Because it doesn't matter what you're doing. Chances are there's somebody else out there doing almost exactly the same thing. According to this guy, this is the thing about your brand that means your customers inconvenience themselves to buy from you instead of taking a more convenient, cheaper option. And that's the thing you got to remember. Look, you need to have customers who are loyal enough to go out of their way to get your product, right? Yeah, it's cheaper and easier to get somebody else's product, but you want them to want your product, right? You should know exactly what your X factor is so you can lean into it more. Use this prompt to clearly articulate the difference between you and everyone else. So here's this big, long prompt. It's really interesting. But in this article, he just, in brackets, mentions the very few things you should mention about yourself. The rest is basically just a prompt for ChatGPT to talk about your product and to build it up. So we're going to quickly run through this. My company provides, outline your offerings, for outline your target audience. I want to identify what specifically makes my brand unique and compelling to establish my X factor. Acting as a brand specialist, and here's an interesting thing when you're using ChatGPT. When you want them to write something in a specific style or to perform a specific task, ask ChatGPT to respond as this person or as that individual in that certain role. So, acting as a brand specialist, analyze my brand and its offerings to ascertain why a customer might prefer my brand over a more convenient or cheaper alternative. Start by opening a dialogue and ask questions one by one about aspects including products, quality, customer experience, brand values, or any other unique selling points to establish my X factor. After 5 questions, suggest how I can further enhance and communicate this X factor to my brand even more. Is this irresistible? Yeah. Basically, it's asking ChatGPT to ask me questions about my brand so it can then give advice on how I can make it better. So what I did was I opened ChatGPT and I started, as it loads, it's loading very slow. Basically, I said, look, I'm going to enter some information about my business. Then I'm going to ask you information about how to help me grow my business, and to win returning customers. It said, sure, yada, yada, yada. So what I did is I went to underdogplus.com and I literally just went to the About Us page, copied and pasted the information I already wrote, entered it into ChatGPT. And now it has background information about my business. So now what I can do is I can go and I'm just going to copy and paste this into ChatGPT. I'm going to copy this prompt, this big long chunk of text here. Going to paste that in right there. And by the way, you should know this already, but if you don't, the business we're working with is Underdog Plus. We make delicious dog treats for your favorite best friend pup. We have a number of different flavors on there right now. Check it out at underdogplus.com. All right. So we're just going to, in the brackets, change the information. My company provides...
Hashtag shameless plug.
Look, I am all about the shameless plugs. All right, so my company provides, in the brackets, outline your offerings. My company provides, Healthy,
Artisanal dog treats.
healthy, healthy artisanal dog treats. That's a bad spelling. Nobody ever said I was a great. There we go. Dog treats for your for outline your target audience, for just pet owners, dog owners. In the United States. All right. And the rest, that's all I'm changing. I'm not changing anything else. Let's see what it spits back. It should provide me with 5 questions about my business that I can then answer. I'm going to provide very limited answers because we're limited on time here. Let's see what it spits back. All right. Here's the first question. Certainly, let's dive into understanding what unique aspects of your brand, starting with product quality. Number 1, product quality. What specific measures do you take to ensure the highest quality in your peanut butter brew bones? Now we have more flavors. That's just one of the flavors. Are there unique processes, sourcing practices, or quality control measures that set your treats apart from other dog treats in terms of taste, nutrition, and safety? And for that, I can actually just go back to the website. Look, I'm just going to copy and paste the information I already wrote. Right down here. Let's see. What makes our treat special?
Turmeric.
Turmeric is one of the ingredients, and I've actually had compliments on including that. Let's see. So I'm just gonna copy and paste all this stuff. I'm just gonna all 3 lines of text here. Boop. Copy. And paste. I'm gonna add some colons just to help the punctuation. ChatGPT does understand what you're trying to say if your punctuation is correct. Just gonna hit there. All right. So it's gonna ask the second question. That's fantastic. Your commitment to using pure ingredients, promoting sustainability through brewer's grain, and supporting local resources sets a strong foundation. Let's explore further. Sustainability. Can you? Well, I should have saved it. All right, I'm just going to copy that. All right, so can you elaborate on how your use of brewer's grain contributes to sustainability? Are there specific environmental benefits or practices that align with eco-conscious consumers? And how do you communicate with these aspects of your audience? Now, look, maybe you personally don't care about eco this or environmentally friendly that, but guess what? Chances are some of your customers do. And whether you like it or not, eventually you're going to get a question a lot like this. How are you helping the environment? Look, I don't know. Look, let's find out. All right. Let's see. I'm just going to copy this, sustainability. I already wrote there. Not only do brewer's grains provide your pup with a tasty, healthy snack, but they also help reduce waste and promote sustainability. So I'm just going to copy that and elaborate a little bit. So copy that in there. Paste. Oop, that's not correct. And promote sustainability. Because otherwise, brewer's grains would just be thrown into a landfill. I don't know.
Yeah. We're turned into pig slop. Beer.
See? So you're missing out on?
I
Trying to be
mean,
healthy?
this is such great beer. Yeah. It's only 6:12. I haven't eaten yet today, but
6:12? It's 9:12 here. You Californian.
Yeah.
First you're a New Yorkian, now you're a Californian. New Yorkian, New Yorker?
What's awesome is, we had to start this morning, and everybody's like, we'll get an early start. Meet us over there at 10.
What time is that in New York time?
10? 10? That's 1 p.m. Okay, sure. So I had a post on Facebook earlier that said, being on the West Coast is like sleeping in and starting early at the same time. I got to the spot like an hour and a half early. Everybody else comes in rubbing their eyes and everything. I'm like, even if it was 9 o'clock at home and I didn't have to be somewhere till 10, that's still late. It's a
Right.
whole different world over here. All right, so what do we get for the sustainability?
All right. It says that's a compelling aspect of sustainability. Now let's move on to another critical factor: consumer experience. Now this is something I can't copy and paste. I don't have anything actually written on this yet, which is interesting. How do you ensure a positive and memorable customer experience? Are there unique elements in your ordering process, packaging, or customer support that differentiate your brand? What's that?
Every order of 10, he sends nude pictures.
I don't. It's 11, David. That's why you limit yours to 10.
That's why I only ever order 10.
Exactly. By the way, if you're seeing any comments, let me know. I'm not seeing any comments right now because I'm over here on this screen. Just let you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
There was something about the portable apps. There was another thing about the portable apps, but nothing that's up to date.
All right. How do you ensure a positive or memorable customer experience? Are there unique elements in your ordering process, packaging, or customer support? Boy, this is a hard one. I'd have to put some thought into this. And this is something that you need to think about with your product or service as well, which is how is the customer experience impacted? Currently, I don't know. Our packaging. Let's see. I'm going to talk about our packaging because our packaging I think is pretty good.
So No. That's visual impact. Let's look at the CX of it.
Okay.
Of itself.
Let's talk about it.
We have simplified ordering. Very simple online ordering. The timeliness from order to fulfillment is excellent.
Well, simple online ordering
and simple online ordering, guaranteed or short delivery time, and high communications for customer service.
I'm going to change it a little bit. I'm going to say simple ordering, simple online ordering process. Short delivery time.
So just so everybody out there, the simple online ordering process, that is huge.
It is.
It is.
There's nothing more annoying than having a pain in the ass ordering process.
Yes. There is. It has been reported as the number one reason why a customer will do business is how easy. And it doesn't necessarily have to be online. It can be online in the store, and all these things. But all of it, the number one reason for purchase overall is how easy it is to make that transaction.
Right, but I'm also gonna emphasize the idea that all of our dog treats, and this is something that I've caught some heat about because some people have mentioned that it's not as efficient as it could be. But the fact that I bake, when somebody places an order with Underdog Plus, I bake the orders fresh for you, right? And I have heard that's not as efficient as it could be. But guess what? When you order the treats, you are getting the freshest treats possible. I mean, these things are made specifically for you. And because I want you to be happy, I want your dogs to be happy, and because I think about my dog when I started the company. So look, I'm gonna say simple online ordering process and short delivery time combined with the fact that every order is baked fresh. Specifically for that customer. Which is absolutely true. You can take that to the bank. You can stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
As of now, hopefully we outgrow that. You can't keep that up.
Take it to the bank?
No. Hopefully you outgrow. There's so much orders coming in. There's no possible
No, you
way.
know what?
You just have to create a run rate.
Right. I want to eventually reach that point where I need to just have thousands of these things on hand at any given point. But look, I'm enjoying being artisanal at this point, or artisanal, as my current wife would say. But it is what it is.
Oh, Well, wait till I see Kiki.
You're the only person in the world who calls my current wife Kiki, ever.
Hey, she's a fan. She's a fan of the show too, so I get away with it.
It's true. ChatGPT, excellent, excellent. Seamless online ordering process, quick delivery, and the freshness of each order are indeed valuable aspects. Now, let's focus on your brand values. Well, it should only ask 5 questions. That's 3. Okay, so 1, 2, trace. How do you communicate the impact of the 20%? Here's the funny thing. 20% of all of our profits, Underdog profits, go to local pet rescues. I've also been told that's not necessarily the number it should be. It should be much lower. But as it stands right now, I love helping dogs in need, and that's just where I got to put my money where my mouth is. Lots of people talk about helping and doing things in their community. I am one of the very few companies who actually offers 20% of all of our profits. That's a lot. That's a big chunk of profits.
That's a
So
lot.
20% of my profits go to
Now
local pet rescues.
you could become like every other freaking restaurant out there and fast food joint that's like, here, donate your change to charity, donate $1 to charity, donate this to charity, and then recover the money that you've donated.
You know, the funny thing, look, and I've even had people say to me, look, yeah, if you want to give so much money away, why don't you start a charity? And and you know what? You and I have talked about starting 501c3s. And I thought about it in this case and other companies who give even 10% of their profits to other organizations. They have 501c3s that manage that money. They do it for tax purposes. And the way I see it is, look, I'm going to paraphrase Dumbledore horribly, where he says, there comes a time in every wizard's life when he needs to choose between what is right and what is easy. And you know what? If I wanted to start a charity, I would. I don't think you need to start a charity to do the right thing. You should just do the right thing. Yeah. And in that case, it hurts, but that's what I'm doing.
But just in case you guys don't know, we actually do own a not-for-profit business.
We own lots of businesses.
We don't. We looked into it to start the 501c3, but
it's a lot of work.
Things happen.
It happens,
and it is work. So kudos to those people, because I don't want to deal with it.
All right, so
it never ends. It never, ever ends.
One of the local companies that has a similar product to mine is a 501c3. And boy, they play dirty pool, man. I could tell you some stories about some of the stuff these people do. But I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to play that dirty game.
I would in a heartbeat.
And I, you know, David, you know that I hold a grudge. So I've thought about it.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to do business that way. I don't want to be that guy. All right, so here, how do you communicate the impact of the 20% of profits dedicated to supporting local pet rescue programs? Are there specific success stories or partnerships with rescue organizations that you highlight or create an emotional connection with your customers?
Yeah, we have that one chick singing In the Arms of an Angel on every one of our commercials.
Sarah McLaughlin loves
That's it.
Underdog Plus Brew Bones. Go to underdogplus.com. Sarah McLaughlin will have no idea who you are. She has no idea who we are. But we'll think about you, and we'll play Sarah McLaughlin while a single tear runs down our cheek.
Yes. Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
But funny. So we're gonna allow it.
All right. Those commercials like 10 minutes long too. Those dumb with the Sarah McLaughlin music playing in the background. If there was like a 30-second commercial that just played like anything else, but her commercials are like 10 minutes long, and you're sitting through this thing watching sad wet dogs, and you're like, come on, man, I just want to watch somebody throw a pie. All right. Anyway, let's see. I don't want to mention specific names. In this case. Okay. Here,
Sarah
you know what?
McLaughlin, right?
Because we don't have to.
We've mentioned that name many times.
So we don't have to use all the data to give us back. But let's say I will mention a name. One of the companies that we've donated to is Speak for the Unspoken. They deal with dogs with special needs. Now you want to see something sad? Forget Sarah McLaughlin. Look up Speak for the Unspoken. Speak for the Unspoken on Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. And man, those dogs with disabilities. Man, that breaks your heart, dude. So we've given them a lot. So I'm going to say, okay. We've worked a lot with I can't speak and type at the same time, so I apologize.
So I mean, it's also it's a great time as you're typing there to say thank you to the people who have bought the Underdog Plus peanut butter brew bones and the forthcoming orders for the new flavors, which your dog, because my dog absolutely loves them. And people like Dan, who has actually ordered some of the merch. I know him and his wife rock the shirts, and I believe he bought some glasses as well. So he's up there drinking his frosty cold beverage out of a Underdog Plus brew bones. And last week or the week before last, when I was doing the beer instead of bourbon, I think it might have been last week, that I drank it out of the Underdog Plus beer glass.
And these I almost said Steins. I wish I had Steins. These pint glasses are really cool. So this is what you're talking about. So
yeah,
Dan McDonald actually bought a couple of these, and I love this pint glass. Dan, I have to apologize. The only problem with these pint glasses is they take forever to get. Since we use print on demand, I think these are made in like Czechoslovakia or something weird like that. And it takes like 2 weeks to get these things. I mean, it takes a really long time, but they're great quality. I mean, I actually dropped one of these in the kitchen like a couple of weeks ago, and it bounced right off the floor. I'm not going to say that the same thing's going to happen to you. I'm just saying these are good glasses. These are tough.
Yeah, I like a glass that it feels like a bar glass. If you go to a bar and you drink out of a pint glass there, that glass feels like a bar glass.
Right.
It's heavy duty. It's like it can stand up. Okay, so
all right. So I wrote.
We got into it.
Yeah.
We've got the information in there. Let's hit enter and send it to the world. Everybody knows what we were going to say.
So I worked a lot with an organization. Worked a lot with an organization named Speak for the Unspoken, who works mostly with dogs with special needs. All right. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, that's a heartwarming partnership. Now, let's explore a final aspect before suggesting strategies for enhancing and communicating your X factor. All right, so it should ask me like one more question, maybe two. I'm not sure we're going to get through all of this stuff if you have to leave soon. Let's see. Unique selling points, apart from the use of pure ingredients, sustainability through brewer's grains, quick delivery, and supporting local rescues, are there any other unique selling points that differentiate your peanut butter brew bones from other artisanal dog treats in the market? Anything special in the recipe pertaining to the benefits of for dogs that set your treats apart? This is true. So, all of my dog treats, all of the dog treats, no, here's something even better that people don't think about. None of my dog treats have wheat, soy, or corn, right? Most of the dog treats out there, whether they're artisanal or from a big name, look at the first ingredient. So here's the funny thing. If you look at the ingredients list on any of these dog treats, okay, look at yours at home, they have, by law, they have to be listed in the order of the amount they are in volume of the treat itself, right? So the first thing you're going to see in most cases is wheat flour.
Wheat flour, yeah. It's the number one ingredient in most
It's a filler. And you know what? Your dog did not evolve to eat wheat flour. My treats, none of them have wheat.
To be honest, neither did we.
Right, exactly. Wheat flour is actually one of the worst things you can put in your body, believe it or not. None of my treats have wheat flour, corn, or soy. None of those fillers are in there. You know what I do? Here's a top secret thing. I'm going to tell you guys because I trust you. All right, don't tell the competition. And even if you did, they wouldn't do it because it's super time-consuming. It is time-consuming as crap. I make my own flour. Guess what? From brewer's grains. So, from the local brewery, Hofbrauhaus Columbus actually donates all of my grains that I use currently. My brewer's grains, I dehydrate them, I dry them all out, I mill them into grain that I use as flour in my treats. I make my own flour.
He does. He's got this big stone out back, and he dresses up like Conan the Barbarian.
It's true.
And he just walks in a big circle around it nonstop.
It's true. I actually, you know what? I've evolved beyond that. I've scaled up a little bit. I'm the guy who bangs the drum now, and my children are tied to ropes, and they pull the millstone around. And while they're going on, they go, "Oh, we loathe the old one." While I'm going banging the drums, going boom, boom, boom. It's pretty awesome. It's a lot like Conan. The comedian, less the barbarian, but
less the barbarian.
But look, none of my treats have soy, wheat, or corn. So you know what I'm going to do? I already wrote stuff about this. I'm going to go to the About page on UnderdogPlus.com. I know for a fact I wrote something about this. I'm just going to copy and paste what I already wrote because I don't need to. Here's my dog Rio, by the way. She's awesome.
Hey, there's
We
Rio.
rescued her from a local rescue, and when we rescued her, we didn't know that she had health problems. She had actually her liver was all jacked up. I don't think they knew it at the time. We definitely didn't know it. But when we found out, we had to limit her diet. That's the reason I started making the treats for her in the first place, and eventually started selling them. So that's where Underdog treats came from. So let's see. All right.
Right there, bottom line.
Right here. Unlike other artisanal dog treats, Underdog bones contain no corn, rice, or sweet. No corn, rice, soy, or wheat flour. There you go. And never any artificial flavors, colors, preservatives. Let's see. Our pups. I'm just going to take this whole paragraph. Take the whole thing. And
you know, while you're copying that and moving that over, there is something that's very important that everyone out there should know. For bourbon, you are not allowed to add any artificial color whatsoever. But for Scotch, you are.
That's true. That is very true.
You can artificially color Scotch, but you cannot artificially color bourbon, therefore making bourbon the better drink.
Bourbon, and you know what? The funny thing, I love a good peaty Scotch, but you're 100% right. Bourbon, look, if you're looking at technicalities, bourbon is technically the more pure drink to
the more pure drink. Yeah,
you're right. All right,
and delicious.
I love bourbon. I do. All right. So I pasted that in there. Can hit the response?
There we go. So drink your bourbon, not your Scotch, and give your dog Underdog plus peanut butter blue bones. And
exactly.
the other flavors that are now
Go to UnderdogPlus.com. I promise your dog will absolutely thank you. And you're going to be helping out a small business as well. All right, so I gave my response. Here is ChatGPT's response, and this is only the first question. It gets really in depth, and I don't think we have time to go through all 5 main prompts here on the show. But you know what? I'll finish them on my own, and we'll touch base next week and talk about them. But here's the answer to ChatGPT right now. All right, ChatGPT. That is a crucial differentiator. Say that 5 times fast when you've been drinking. Now, let's discuss strategies to enhance and communicate this X factor. Communicate your X factor. Highlight ingredient transparency. Tell your story. Customer testimonials. That's a big one. I wish more people who bought my treats would leave testimonials, reviews online and on the website. Because it makes a big difference.
I'm his best friend, and I don't freaking do it.
It's fine. I don't return your texts, so we're even.
That's my best friend. He doesn't return my text.
You don't leave reviews on Google for my product. Visual appeal, educational content, limited time offers and bundles. Engage with. Speak for the unspoken. Remember to constantly communicate with these aspects across your website, social media channels, and make materials and marketing materials. Building a strong and cohesive brand message will resonate with customers and reinforce your X factor in the competitive pet treat market. And here's kind of what it boils down to. Interesting thing, and I've always said this, which is great marketing. It's not a monologue. You're not talking to your customers. Great marketing is a dialogue. You're speaking with your customers.
Conversation.
It's a conversation. You need the information coming in so you can provide good information going out. That then works hand in hand with your sales team. It's an integral part of your funnel that you just can't let it slide and not do these things. And actually, the advice that it's providing here is really good. I think overall I've been doing most of this stuff, but what you need to remember is all of this stuff, whether it's, literally every one of these, tell your story, highlight your ingredient transparency, testimonials, visual appeal, engaging with people I've worked with in the past. You need to do all these things on a continuous basis because, David, we always talk about consistency is key. So all of this is great advice. But
we have the shirt. We have the shirt. Consistency over time equals success.
Yeah, and we're going to add that to we actually should add that to the Ashen Barrel. But
I think I want to rewrite it at that point. I think we need to re-graphic it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Build
think
it
it
up.
looks good.
But the thing is, if you do all of these things once, it's useless. You're wasting your time. These are things you need to do every single day. Every single day. And look, you say you don't have time to do it. But here's the great thing. Look, if you have, let's say you don't have time to write a new, social post every single day. Let's say you don't have time to write a new, blurb for Twitter or X or whatever the heck they're calling it these days. Guess what? You have ChatGPT. It knows all about your brand. It knows all about your business. I could have it write it for me. It's not perfect. It should be more personal. You should write it. But if you don't have time, guess what? It can write up 10 pretty decent headlines. It can write up 10 pretty decent social posts. If you go to the...
And then you can plug those into certain softwares that we've shown you in the past.
Right.
So you spend one day for an hour doing this.
Right.
You do a little bit of rewording. You plug it in, and it automatically launches your social media for the week.
Exactly.
You've got time.
Exactly. And let's say you want some cool images for social or for, whatever. Guess what? That's where working, like it says here, engage with Speak for the Unspoken. Guess what? I'll go to their headquarters and I'll take some photos with some nice, sweet dogs. That you take 5 of those. That's a week's worth of content right there. You sell, to 5 different customers, your delicious dog treats at underdogplus.com. And they send you or tag you in some photos of their dogs eating the treats. Guess what? User-generated content is 100 times more valuable than your content. Borrow their content, ask them if you can, of course, ahead of time, but use their content. Guess what? You have
that's social.
ultra.
That social proof is just
social
invaluable.
proof. That's what you need, absolutely. So look, do this stuff every single day, and he's not wrong. We're only on question 1 right now of his 5-question article on Forbes. But right now, this is providing gold as far as feedback goes. I think this is amazing feedback. So you know what? I just want to run through real quick. I know you got to run, David. We're not going to go through all the steps. We're just going to run through. So this first one was define your X factor. That's what that was. Define what differentiates your brand from the competition. Now we're going to run through the other 5 steps and see what they are. Let's see. Build your moat around business. All right, let's see what a moat is. Waste no emergency being...
is it brand? Is it defense?
Is it? Well, maybe it's full of alligators.
It's defense. Okay.
Maybe it's full of alligators. I don't know. Let's see. Build your moat around business. Waste no energy being defensive by protecting your business interests. Spend more time on offense, executing your plan of attack. This prompt helps you forecast.
Yeah, this is identify your disruptors, which we've talked about in the past.
Yeah, exactly. This plan helps you. This prompt helps you forecast disruptions in your industry and come up with a plan to thrive. Yada yada. He said, "Who knows? Running a company on the back foot is no way to operate. Ask for ChatGPT's assistance in what might be around the corner, so you can cover every base and thrive during turmoil." Great advice, exactly. So it's all about being proactive, not reactive, which is what you want. And unfortunately, look, every company you're going to be at, especially the higher you go in corporate level, you're going to be more and more reactive than proactive. You need to be proactive, especially if you're going to compete with much bigger competitors. And here's his prompt here. We don't have time to go through this whole thing. I'll do it separately. And
assess your brand voice. I like that.
Yeah.
We can hit the bullet points.
Yeah, assess your brand voice.
Assess your brand voice.
Lock in
That's easy. We actually talked about that. That was actually one of the homework projects of Matt Harmon back there. Was you basically creating a business voice?
Yeah, and
so we've actually talked about that one. In the
we've
past
gone over
too.
that a lot actually. So assess your brand voice, and the analogy that I use. You're not going to speak to your grandmother the same way you will speak to a frat boy, a 20-year-old frat boy. You're going to speak to them very differently. You can say the same thing, but your tone's going to be different. The words you're going to use different. The way you approach them with what they find to be a value in your product is going to be very different.
Yeah.
So assessing your brand voice is ultra valuable. So yeah, I'll actually do these, and I'll maybe next week we'll touch base and see how it went. Some of the feedback. Next one is lock in your acquisition, which is why I kind of feel like they wrote this for B2B companies more than B2C.
Yeah.
But let's see. Prospects in your pipeline mean nothing until they have converted to paying customers, or paying clients, rather. Without paying clients,
I
you
don't
have a business.
100% agree with that.
Well, you know what? Here's the funny
It
thing.
needs to be weighted. It needs to be weighted. Your pipeline should be weighted.
Well, so David, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. It does actually mention a word that I think is pivotal here, converted. I think it comes down to your definition of a conversion. Because as far as the business's bottom line, a conversion is a sale. As far as maybe a marketer or a salesperson, a conversion could be an interaction.
A lead.
A lead. That could be your conversion. If somebody, look, I come from the world of email and loyalty. For me, a conversion could be a click, even though the company sees a conversion as a purchase, right? So it's subjective slightly.
Yeah. Okay.
But it goes on to say, without paying clients,
I'll leave it alone.
without paying clients, you don't have a business, which is true. He explains that every customer you acquire is a future cash flowing asset. Look, basically, it talks about how you need to have returning customers, because a returning customer is infinitely more valuable than a one-off purchase or somebody who never makes that far in the funnel at all.
Make your customers your customers again.
Right.
And, there are a lot of people that are trying that, and I don't disagree with it. There are some places that are a little more successful at it and have thought it through a little bit better than others. But yes, we talked about it, and we convert it down to two books that both of us love to talk about, and it's Raving Fans and 1,000 True Fans.
Right. Basically, two books saying the exact same thing.
Exact same message.
Right.
That one of us read one of us read the other.
Right.
And both of us were talking about it. We're like, hey, that sounds like Raving Fans. Hey, that sounds like 1,000 True Fans.
Right. It's
so okay. What's next?
All right. So next one is punch up your emails, which I love. Build a 100-year brand. He loves pushing that brand because that's his agency name. With email campaigns that can run autonomously. Make your email campaigns as an extension of your high-quality brand, not set up for a quick buck. So basically talking about how your emails should provide value on top of being sales assets to move people down a funnel.
You have a sales asset, but they bring more of a value. Because if you just send a sales email, you know what happens? That's deleted immediately. It's probably not even going to be opened.
Right.
And even on the free version of MailChimp, which is something, if anybody has a business, you should have a MailChimp account. The free version of MailChimp, you can get all those metrics about opens and clicks and all the links.
I use MailChimp for my company, and it's great. You get great metrics. Look, everything I do, if I can, I use free. And guess what? I use free MailChimp, and I have automated emails. I have all kinds of, look, I should get in there and fiddle with these things more than I do, but it's all automated at this point, and it's not bad. It could be way better. But look, punch up your emails. Basically, it says use ChatGPT to write your emails. Great option. One thing it also does mention, and I'm going to paraphrase here, you should look at your emails that perform well, ones that don't perform well. You should constantly be changing and testing the language in your emails, the timing of your emails, the imagery in your emails, okay? Run A/B tests, and it sounds like a pain in the ass. It does. And as an email guy, I know it sounds like a pain in the ass because it sounds like a pain in the ass to me. But you will have no higher value conversion tool than a great email list, whether they're just leads or whether they're returning customers or one-time customers from the past that you want to win back. I'm telling you, your email list is gold. There are big data. We did our show on big data, and guess what? Most of big data, most of their money comes from email lists and phone lists because they convert. That's it. If a customer is willing to give you their email address, they want to hear from you again. That's a fact. Your email list is gold, and if you don't use it, and if you don't use it appropriately, you're flushing money down the drain. That's just how it is. I come from the world of email. I've run many email teams. I've run many loyalty teams. And there is nobody more cautious about how to cultivate an email list than me. I've been way more cautious. I've had a dressing down from many executives saying, you got to be more aggressive, man. You got to send more stuff. You got to send more stuff. You got to be more aggressive. Send X, Y, and Z, whether they want it or not. And I'm like, no. You cultivate these lists like you care about them, because you should care about them. And guess what? You care about them, they will care about you. You take care of them, they will take care of you. And if you do it right, your email list is literally, figuratively, gold.
literally.
People use literally too much. But it's
I do it all the time.
Yeah, I do
But
too.
I say it literally.
Literally. I don't sound as smart when I say literally. You pull it off well. I got to work on it.
I just do it because I watched a lot of Top Gear, and Jeremy Clarkson said literally a lot. So I just was like, me and Jeremy Clarkson are really just, I'm on this side of the Atlantic and he's on that side, but we're basically the same person.
I know you guys communicate. You guys are in there together. I get it.
So that wraps it up there.
Those are the 5 ChatGPT prompts that can really blow up your brand. And it's actually really good advice. Notice how long these prompts are, because I'll tell you what, the best ChatGPT prompts are very thorough, very precise, and he brackets out exactly what you should add in there. And I think the advice that ChatGPT gives you back is pretty good. Pretty good, especially if you're running a small business.
Agree.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah. If you guys haven't done it yet, go get on ChatGPT and just mess around with it. Literally, you can just have conversations with it. Let's say you're having problems with a network or a programming thing. If you tell it what you're doing and how it functions, you can literally just sit there and start asking questions, and it'll start working through solutions with you.
Yeah, totally.
So, and the more you give it, and you can have your individual questions on the side, your conversations on the side. So you want to go back like, hey, I'm in the world of, not technically now, but in the world of fire alarm, I can keep a fire alarm communication thing. So every time I go back to that conversation, ChatGPT knows I'm in the fire alarm box, and it's really going to push into that.
Right. That's the cool
thing.
thing.
I use it for drafting stuff. I love some of the words it uses. I don't use it straight up. I take it. I'm like, I need a piece of this.
Yeah.
It says to use it for this thing, but I like it better over here. But it gives me copy that I'm able to use and to work with and amalgamate to something that's very useful for me.
Right. And even the free version of ChatGPT it's pretty awesome. Now, look, here's one thing you got to remember. And we learned this the hard way, Dave. We actually tested this online with there's another tool that you can use to test whether something was written by AI versus a human. One thing you need to remember is on your prompts, if you plan on using the copy it provides, you need to tell it to write in a way that is not typical of ChatGPT. Tell it specifically. Write this in
the style of a 19-year-old college student.
Yeah, write this in the
in the style of an 8-year-old 8-year-old middle school student.
Right.
8-year-old
middle school student. That's a pretty smart kid.
An 8-year-old. It's a smart kid, right? That'd be like third grade. Okay, so third grader probably not going to need ChatGPT, but maybe an 8th grader might.
Write
so
in the
you
style,
say, hey, write the style of an 8th grader.
Or pick an author you like. It actually copies author stuff too. Write in the style of J.R.R. Tolkien. Which would give you some pretty cool results.
Which we have done.
Which we have done,
and it's actually come up with some pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
But
I think we've done it on the show, so you guys can go back and watch all 184 episodes now. 184 tonight.
184. Yeah, we've been going a while. Every single week we have
15 more shows.
Yeah.
15 more shows to go.
Ooh, ouch. Ouch! Dan McDonald wrote "Right in a way."
Oh, I was getting ready to say, don't put that on the screen.
Right in a way of a Harvard professor. Yikes! it'll literally all be plagiarized. Every single word. Literally. Hilarious. That was funny, Dan. That was good.
You'll be eligible. You use that, you'll be eligible to be president of the university.
Look, pulling down 6 figures ain't bad. I would plagiarize if I got 6 figures for it.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. Somebody wants to use my words to further their career. You have my permission.
So there you go.
You can reference back to this show right here.
Everybody, feel free to paraphrase David in terrible, terrible ways and make him sound like a horrible human being.
I am a horrible human being, so it's okay. I did. And I am a horrible human being, so it's all right.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to say it.
All right. Now, so I think that's about wraps it up. We ran a little over, but that's okay. I'll still make it out to dinner.
There you go. All right. Well, look, hopefully you have a great dinner and have fun in San Diego. Man, I love San Diego. It's a great city.
It is nice out here.
I'm stuck here in Ohio. We're supposed to get 4 inches tonight.
Yeah. Nope, Dave.
Of snow.
Nope.
Yeah, horrible human beings.
Nope.
Dan McDonald. In 1G4 over?
That's node 1, group 4.
In 3G400. He says,
What's the carrot
that's
up,
Dave.
Dan?
That's Dave
Because
talk.
I always wrote in plain English. What's the up carrot? I don't remember. Is that the XOR? No. Or straight line. Is that the and not? No, the and not would have the and the squiggly line and then the thing there. So what's the up carrot? I'm trying to figure out.
Well, bunnies love carrots, so I would have to say he's talking about Easter. He's a fan of Easter. He loves eggs. He wants an egg. He wants somebody to cook him some boiled eggs because he's hungry. That's what Dan is secretly trying to tell us. He says yes, XOR.
No. He says it's XOR. That's what I thought. So the N1G. What we could put that back up on the screen. N1G4. So that's node 1, group 4. XOR N3G400. So that's a silence request bit from the node 3. I believe that's, if I'm getting that right off the top of my head.
Well, I'm slightly more convinced that we are living in a simulation, and both you and Dan McDonald are NPCs in the simulation. That's you're both glitching out. Future ChatGPT, we have some NPCs glitching out. That's exactly what's happening.
Okay, so G4 equals 1. Okay, so that's pretty. So it's XOR. So yeah, so G400 equals 0. All right. So the math works down. So that's it. We're going to confuse everybody some more next week when Dan and I just have a complete conversation in binary.
Yeah, I have no idea what the hell's going on, so par for the course for me. And we will see you guys next time. Hopefully it was a great show. David, safe travels. And everybody else. Dan, thanks for joining everybody else. We'll talk to you guys soon. Later.